Hey guys, this is Justin at the Survival Review. So the subject of fan films. Sometimes they're fun, entertaining tributes. A lot of times they're cringy and not so great. And that's coming from me, who's made fan films, so I know that they can be kind of awkward and not so good. But there's one fan film out of all the ones that I've seen that really transcends this trend of just kind of being a fun little tribute and actually becomes something really entertaining and legitimately good. And that is Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. Now, I was blown away by how good this movie was. From the acting, to the directing, to the effects, to the cinematography. It all just transcended being like a fun tribute to being in my opinion, a legit good Friday the 13th movie that I'm happy to put on the shelf next to the other films, which is what I actually do because I do own the Blu-ray release of this, and the VHS as well, because I had to get that. And yeah, this movie, what I like about it is that it doesn't try to be too big. It doesn't try to do more than what it's able to do. In that, like, it's a very small scale story. And it basically follows this blogger who does these hiking, like, nature type of videos. You start out with this guy going to this trail, he's filming himself. There's a little bit of a found footage-y element in a way, because it constantly cuts to what his camera is seeing and everything. And he's going on this hiking trail and everything, and he comes across Camp Crystal Lake. And the camp is completely abandoned and all run down and everything, but he knows the story. He knows the story of Jason, who drowned in the lake, and his mom, who was the cook there, who went crazy and killed people, and kind of the ghost story aspect that Jason might still be out there. So he's having fun exploring the place and finding all the old decrepit stuff there. And of course, Jason is also there, and they meet each other, and things pretty much go how you would expect. So the movie is about 55 minutes long, so it's not like a short film, but it's not overly long. I think it's actually a perfect runtime, because it has a good amount of time to build up suspense. Because that's one of the things this movie actually has, is some really good suspense, because Jason doesn't actually appear, like, he doesn't actually like attack Kyle till like almost 30 minutes into the movie. And the first half of the movie is you're just following Kyle like on his expedition and everything, and then him exploring the camp. And it may sound boring to some people, but I thought it was really good. Now, what really sells it is the actor playing Kyle, because that's also the thing with these fan productions, is that the acting, you know, isn't always up to par, it isn't always the greatest, but they realized with this one that you have to have a good actor as the lead, because you're following this guy for the whole movie, pretty much. He's in like every single scene. And so the actor who plays Kyle, I don't remember his name, but he is fantastic. He is great. The best thing is that he is likable. Like, you want him to get out of this situation. In fact, the scene where he finds the trail leading to Camp Crystal Lake, you almost don't want him to take it. You're like, no, just turn back. Please, come on, man. And so, like, there's a lot of legit suspense where he's walking around exploring the cabin. Like, I remember watching this movie for the first time and just sitting there being like, when's Jason gonna come out? Like, I was actually kind of like in suspense at that. So he is great. Like, he totally sells the part. He's likable, he sells all the serious stuff. And that's one thing they had to get right, because if they didn't have a good actor playing him, this whole movie, great production values and all, would have just fallen apart, you know, without that lead to kind of carry you along in this film. And then you get to the other main character of the movie, which is Jason himself, played by the writer and director of the movie, Vincent DiSanti. This version of Jason is commonly known as Ghost Jason. He is really good. He's really awesome. I loved his portrayal. One of the things I really like that they do with the sound design in this movie is that every time he takes a step, it's like this really loud step, like boom, boom, boom. And just to hear that coming at you is such a creepy concept. Like, just see this big lumbering guy running at you with those loud steps. I thought it was a really cool thing they did. A really cool thing on the sound designer's part there to add into the movie that just added that much more to the character. But yeah, his version is really cool. He's a lot taller and I'd say a bit leaner, like compared to like a Kane Hodder Jason. But I liked his portrayal. I thought he paid tribute to the other Jasons, but it brought his own like feel and vibe to the character, which I thought was really unique. And like, that's another thing you have to get right on these fan films, is the main like villain killer character that you're paying tribute to. Sometimes that doesn't quite work, but this one really pulls it off. It really makes it feel like you're watching the character of Jason and not just like a guy in a Jason cosplay running around trying to kill people. You actually feel like you're watching the character of Jason, and it's handled very well. What I love about this movie is that it doesn't try to play into the Friday the 13th tropes too much. You know, it has a few of those in here, a few of those like key elements of a Friday the 13th movie, and it pulls it off very well. But it doesn't try to be your typical Friday the 13th film where it's like, you know, a group of people and they're having sex and doing drugs and they get killed. Like, it's not like that at all. Like, like I said, it's a movie about one guy. Like, it's a very like a solo movie, but also it takes itself seriously. Like, it doesn't try to go in that like cheesy comedic way, which I feel like a lot of movies would do. A lot of like fan films, or even I feel like if like Hollywood made a Friday the 13th movie right now, this is what they would do, where they'd kind of be like, well, you know, Friday the 13th is that cheesy, you know, type of slasher movie. Let's just do that. It might be fun. They did kind of similar elements of that with the recent reboot they did in 2009, where like the main characters were those really obnoxious, drunk college students, and it was really annoying. And I like that this movie doesn't do that. It scales completely back. Also, I like that it takes like Jason seriously, and like the mythology of Jason, it takes it very seriously. Like, I love that scene where Kyle's talking to the camera and talking about the whole like story of Jason and the backstory and like the ghost story elements of it, kind of like feeding into the mythology of the character. I thought that was a really cool element, and I really like that. And I think that's what makes this movie stand out from other Friday the 13th fan films and everything, because like, I feel like some other Friday the 13th fan films, some of the ones I've kind of seen a little bit try a little too hard to like emulates those older films. And I love those older movies, don't get me wrong. You know, I like them, but I feel like a lot of people tried too hard to make them kind of cheesy, kind of like that, or try too hard to like take those tropes and try to have too much fun with it, and it just kind of comes off as like not so good and kind of cringy, you know, like casting like a porn star in the movie so she can take her top off because you need nudity in a Friday the 13th movie. You know, I like how this just kind of strips away all of that and just makes it just this like smaller scale story about this guy who gets attacked by Jason. And I think that's what really drew me into the movie. Even though I like the Friday the 13th tropes, I think they're fun, but I really like kind of the solo kind of standalone like feel of this. Everything else about this movie, just production wise, is so good. The timing on the suspense and like the music and the like all the effect stuff is all like executed like so professionally and so well. Like, it's really good. I love all that, and there is some really good effect shots in this movie. They use them sparingly, but like there is some good effect stuff in here that's really well done. And then also, like I said, the suspense is another key element that works in this movie. From like, you know, the setup, which I mentioned earlier, but also the moments where Kyle has to sneak back into the camp to get all his gear before he leaves so he can like patch up his wound, and he's like hiding in the room, he's looking through the keyhole, and like Jason's walking by. Like, all that stuff is executed really well. There's even some good stunts in here too that were surprising. I'm like, holy crap, that's good. Like, there's a lot of good stuff in here. And then that leads us to the ending of the movie. So I'm going to put a spoiler tag here. I'm going to say, you know, skip to this moment later on in the video to avoid the ending. If you haven't seen this yet, and you're a major Friday the 13th fan, you don't want this like kind of fun reveal at the end spoiled for you. If you're a casual viewer who doesn't really know much about the Friday the 13th story or some of the previous movies, I don't think this is going to matter. I don't think you're even going to know what this is. But spoiler warning for Friday the 13th fans. The ending of this movie has Kyle getting picked up by paramedics, and he's in the ambulance and everything. And the coolest thing happens, that reveal one of the paramedics is Tommy Jarvis, played by Tom Matthews from Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. And that is just so cool. One, I love Tom Matthews, like from, you know, Return of the Living Dead, and of course Jason Lives. And so seeing him in here is really cool. And I feel like sometimes when you have an actor from like a franchise appear in a fan film, it's a little kind of like awkward, where you kind of like almost feel bad for the actor, like, oh, they had to do a fan film, like, really? But seeing Tom Matthews in here, like, after watching the whole movie lead up to this moment, it's this really tense, like, exciting movie, and then to end it with Tom Matthews showing up as Tommy Jarvis was just the icing on the cake. I love that, especially that final moment where he's in the driver's seat and he just yells at Jason like,
"Hey, Meganhead! Remember me, asshole?"
And I love that they brought that character back, because like he just kind of disappeared in the series. For a little moment in time, he was like the Laurie Strode of the franchise, the like one character you followed in the course of films. Granted, it wasn't the best executed because we changed actors in all 3 movies he was in, but then his character just kind of like just disappeared and there was no more Tommy Jarvis. And I like that Vincent DiSanti is like, I'm going to continue the story of Tommy Jarvis, and then, you know, he has plans for follow-ups that will also bring Tom Matthews back and finally conclude the Tommy Jarvis story, which is great, because I feel like that's something that we're not going to actually see in the series proper. Like, I feel like if the Friday the 13th franchise comes back and they finally do make an actual new film, I don't think they're going to really continue off of the old films because there's not that marketability aspect for the general public. Like, for the fans, of course, there'll be a bunch of that, but for the general public, you don't have that, like, Jamie Lee Curtis aspect where, like, if we bring Jamie Lee Curtis back and make it a direct sequel to the original, people will go see it. But it's like, what are they going to do for Friday the 13th? Like, bring Corey Feldman back? Like, I don't think that's a draw to the general audiences nowadays. So I feel like if they made a new Friday the 13th movie, they're just going to full on reboot it because there's really nothing you could do. There's nothing you could nostalgia bait the general audience with Friday the 13th, if that makes any sense, in my opinion, I feel like. Also, I know this isn't intentional, but I think perfect timing having this movie come out within the last couple of years or so, because, you know, we're dealing with the lawsuit that's been going on between the two creators of Friday the 13th that's prohibiting a new movie from being made, hence why we haven't gotten any new Friday the 13th films. So having this come out in that time, like, really just makes it feel like this is the next Friday the 13th movie, because, you know, when are we getting another one? Who knows? And that's why I like to consider this one like the next chapter in the series, because, like I said, it's such a well done movie for a fan film, which I know a lot of people get turned off when they hear, oh, it's a fan film, well, who cares? But this one, like I said, transcends that. Like, I liked the character, the main character in it. I liked all the sequences. I felt like a legit Friday the 13th movie, which I thought was awesome, and I highly recommend you check this out. It's just very entertaining, very suspenseful, very well put together. I mean, it's on YouTube. You can literally watch it right now. Just, you can either go to a new tab or, hell, just click off this video. I don't care. Go watch it. You know, it's worth it. It's a really good time, and especially if you're a Friday the 13th fan who's, you know, has that itch for a new Friday the 13th movie, this will scratch that itch, for sure. Now, also, they have another one coming out soon, Never Hike in the Snow, which I'm super excited for, and I can't wait for that to come out and to see that next chapter in the Never Hike Alone saga. So that's Never Hike Alone, a Friday the 13th fan film. Awesome movie. And yeah, that's all I have to say for now. So until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.